Jeffrey Epstein got victim, 16, to recruit over 70 underage girls for him by buying every item on her baby registry, and lost interest in sexually abusing her after she had given birth. A victim who was allegedly assaulted by Jeffrey Epstein at least 50 times between the ages of 14 and 16 became a recruiter after she got pregnant. LM was allegedly described by Epstein as a person who came to him as a prostitute and drug addict. When she learned she was pregnant, the sexual assaults stopped, but Epstein did buy her everything she had registered for ahead of her baby shower, and then started bringing underage girls to Epstein while still pregnant, and estimated she ultimately supplied him with over 70 minors given her own struggles. LM was never charged for her role or even considered to be brought up on charges when Epstein was first investigated back in 2005 by Chris Spargo for DailyMail.com, published 22/14 British Summer Time, the 11th of September 2019, updated 021 British Summer Time, the 12th of September 2019. One of the many high school students who was allegedly sexually assaulted by Jeffrey Epstein managed to keep making money even after the pedophile lost interest in abusing her. The young woman, identified in court records as LM, revealed in depositions that she had been to Epstein's home more than 50 times between the ages of 13 and 16, getting several $100s after each visit in exchange for the sexual abuse she was forced to endure. That in money dried up, however, when she became pregnant, she revealed, explaining that Epstein did not have any interest in sexually assaulting girls and women who had given birth. Epstein had bigger plans for LM, however, and managed to convince her to take on a new role as one of his recruiters. He did this, explained LM's lawyer Bradley Edwards in one deposition, by purchasing every single gift she had registered for ahead of her baby shower and having one of his female staffers drive them over to her house. LM said that after this, she brought at least 70 underage girls to Epstein's home. Monster, and girl who was allegedly assaulted by Jeffrey Epstein at least 50 times between the ages of 14 and 16 became a recruiter after she got pregnant given her own struggles. LM was never charged for her role or even considered to be brought up on charges when Epstein was first investigated back in 2005 by Palm Beach officials. LM said that she hid the money she made in her room and used it to purchase clothing and shoes, which her family could not afford at the time. In one deposition, she recalled how she stood over Epstein naked with a nude friend, just 12, next to her and pinched the pedophile's nipples. LM was living in a trailer at the time, and said that the money she was getting made a huge difference. Court documents filed in one of his many legal battles include the details of an interview former Daily News gossip columnist George Rush did with Epstein that was killed by Mort Zuckerman, the paper's owner at the time and a pal to the pedophile. Once the interview was squashed, Rush agreed to share the details with private investigator Michael Fiston, who testified under oath to the details of that conversation. Epstein reportedly told Rush that he should not have been in jail, called his underage victims prostitutes, and said that the lawsuits which he agreed to as part of his sweetheart deal with prosecutors were just an attempt for the young assault victims to cash in on his millions. Those feelings seem to be confirmed by his actions at the time, with multiple court filings detailing how he hired men to stalk some of the young women. That act was a clear violation of his parole, but Epstein made no secret of his actions, nor did the men he hired to follow and harass his victims. And in the end, the U.S. Attorney's Office for Southern Florida never even attempted to punish Epstein for allowing a third party to contact the victims, which the judge very clearly stated that his sentencing hearing was a parole violation. Rush said that he would paraphrase his recording of Jeffrey Epstein to Fisty according to the court filing, and provide him with the highlights. Fisty was a private investigator as well, but working for Jane Doe in the case as opposed to Epstein. He stated that people do not like it when people make good, and that was the one reason he was being targeted, reads the affidavit. He stated that he did nothing wrong and went to jail for no reason. Epstein said that he would have just paid a $200 fine had the offense occurred in Manhattan, and then proceeded to badmouth the opposing counsel and underage females he sexually assaulted. He referred to lawyer Brad Edwards as an ambulance chaser, states the filing, and his clients such as L.M. as a person who came to him as a prostitute and drug addict. Fisty continued. He stated that all the girls sung him only trying to get a meal ticket. Rush also told Fisty that Epstein was particularly upset about the fact that Edwards had deposed Ghislaine Maxwell. Epstein referred to Maxwell as a good person who did nothing wrong. This all ended with Rush actually taking a buyout at the paper. He also denied ever telling Fisty about the recording, saying that only 3 people and his lawyer had heard the tape of his conversation. Fisty said he not only heard everything but that Rush never said the information was privileged or confidential. Not included in the filing were the emails Rush sent Fisty that were written by the pedophile, including one about the case. That same case also went into Epstein's campaign of intimidation against some of the victims in the case. Jane Doe had a trial set for her civil case against him on July 19, 2010. As that trial date approached, defendant Epstein intimidated her in violation of the judicial no-contact orders, stated one filing. On July 1, 2010, he had a private investigator tail Jane Doe, following her every move, stopping when she stopped, driving when she drove, refusing to pass when she pulled over. When Jane Doe ultimately drove to her home, the private investigator then parked in his car approximately 25 feet from Jane Doe's house and flashed his high-beam lights intermittently into the home. It continued, even more threateningly, at about 10:30 p.m., when Jane Doe fled her home. In the company of a retired police officer employed by Jane Doe's counsel, the private investigator attempted to follow Jane Doe despite a request not to do so. The retired officer successfully took evasive action and placed Jane Doe in a secure, undisclosed location that night. Other harassing actions against Jane Doe also followed. Let's block ads. Why?